Welcome everyone. Today we're going to explore the building blocks of everything around us, atoms, molecules, and compounds. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand how these tiny particles combine to make up all the matter in the universe. The objective today is simple. You'll be able to describe and differentiate between atoms, molecules, and compounds, and identify examples of each in everyday life. Matter. Everything in the universe is made up of matter, and all matter, no matter how large or small, is composed of atoms, the smallest particles that define each element. When atoms combine, they form molecules, which make up all the materials and substances we see and touch daily, from water and air to the food we eat. Everything you see and feel around you is made up of matter. That we know that matter is made up of atoms, let's talk about what exactly is an atom. An atom is the smallest unit of an element that still keeps the chemical properties of that element. Each atom has a nucleus at its center containing protons and neutrons, and it's surrounded by electrons that move in specific paths. The number of protons determines what element it is. Atoms rarely exist alone. They bond together to form molecules and compounds. Here you can see the structure of an atom, the dense nucleus in the middle with protons and neutrons and electrons orbiting around it. This tiny structure is what gives each element its unique identity. Now let's talk about molecules. When two or more atoms bond together chemically, they form a molecule. The atoms may be the same element, like oxygen gas, which is two atoms of oxygen bonded together, or different elements, like water, which is two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom bonded together. Molecules are electrically neutral and held together by covalent bonds. They can range from just two atoms to thousands, depending on the substance. Here you can see a few examples of molecules that are two different substances combined, such as water, ammonia, carbon dioxide, and methane. Now we know that molecules are two atoms that are bonded together, but compounds are a little different. Compounds are molecules made up of two or more different elements. So, all compounds are molecules, but not all molecules are compounds, because some molecules can be made of the same element, and some molecules have different elements in them. And here we will talk about how the atoms actually join together. Atoms bond by gaining, losing, or sharing electrons. There are two main types of bonds. An ionic bond happens when one atom transfers an electron to another. For example, sodium and chlorine form table salt. And then we also have covalent bond, which happens when atoms share electrons like in water or oxygen gas. The type of bond determines a substance's structure and properties. Now let's put this into practice. Take a look at each formula and decide whether it's a molecule, a compound, or both. Here we have the formula for oxygen. Now let's think. Is this a molecule or a compound? Well, we know that compounds are molecules that have more than one different type of substance. Oxygen is a molecule with two atoms of oxygen, then it is simply just a molecule, it is not a compound. Now try to think of the rest of them on your own. Here we have the formula for water. Is this a molecule or a compound? H2O is a molecule and a compound. Here we have the formula for salt. Is this a molecule or compound or both? Table salt is an ionic compound, meaning that it has an ionic bond, not a covalent one. So it is a compound but not a molecule. Here we have the formula for carbon dioxide. Is this a molecule, compound, or both? Said both, you are correct. Great job on that activity. Now before we wrap up, think about these questions. First, what is the difference between an atom and a molecule? Second, how can a molecule also be a compound? And lastly, what's one way ionic and covalent bonds differ? To summarize what we learned today, all matter is made of atoms. Atoms bond to form molecules and compounds, and chemical bonds determine a substance's properties and whether or not it's a compound, molecule, or both. These tiny interactions are the reason everything exists the way it does. Thank you so much for learning with me today.